everyone. Hi, this is V and welcome to my channel. So today I am just going to give you all an update on what has transpired this past week, as well as my plans for the upcoming week. So let's get to talking. So first, let's start off with how last week went. So of course, if you've been following me or if you're new to the channel, I am currently in a transition period where I am was laid off seeking employment. So my thoughts, what I started off doing the first of last week was, of course, job searching. And as I was filling out the application, went all the way through and was like, oh, okay. Before I hit submit, they requested 3 references. Can somebody tell me? We are in 2025, 2026. Why do you need references? Especially if you've been employed greater than 5 years on a job. I don't get it. I really don't get it. We are in 2025, going on 2026. Why? To me, it's like it should be some exception to the rule. If you've been employed greater than this amount of time, you don't need to fill this part out. So, as I was going through, finally came up with the names, hit submit. I was like, okay, let me put this Chromebook over here and let me get on my walking pad, because that was just too overwhelming in itself for me. That was my Monday. That's how my Monday started off. With that being said, I've been out the game for almost 18 plus years, be honest. What happened to the Employment Commission, Security Commission? Why is it that in certain cities, you don't have a local unemployment office to go to? I don't know, that this happened during the pandemic. Did they close down offices? Did they make it where everything was online? I'm like, this is crazy. Luckily, I have the internet, because if you didn't have the internet, what would you do? Especially in these times where people are being laid off and said, what would you do? Comment down below. That right there just took the cake for me. I was out riding. We were out and about on a Saturday. We were doing something, I don't know, just out and about. And I was looking. I was like, oh, this building done closed down. Wasn't that the unemployment office? And come to find out, it no longer exists. I don't know. That was just how my week started off last week. But great, on the better note. So I did start it, as I said, I was going to work on strength training. Okay. So I went to one of my favorite YouTubers that I watch. She does a lot of workout videos. Well, that's basically what her channel is. And so I was like, okay, well, let me work on my arms for this day. And so this was just a 15-minute arm strengthen your arms. I don't remember what the title of the video was. So as I'm doing the workout, now remind you, it was a 15-minute workout. I got about 8 minutes in, and this was using 5 pounds. And what I said to myself was, I was like, I gotta do better, because I should have more strength in me to be able to do the whole 15 minutes of lifting, especially just 5-pound weights. Now, I know over this course of time, I've been doing little things here and there with the strength training, but never this intense of the workout that on this video. And I was like, It just made me say to myself, out of all these years, because if you're familiar, I have 5 boys, my better half as well, so that's 6 males. I ain't really had to do no lifting. So I ain't really had to lift nothing. Once my 12-year-old got to a certain age in the car seats, I didn't have to lift nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. So, yeah. That was a little downing for this week for that. But I did it twice this week. I did. I stuck with my word, my plans, and I did it twice this week to try to build that up. But I was a little disappointed with that. I was like, no, you should be able to do this at least 15 minutes. But yeah. So, of course, I also incorporated the hula hoop. Yes, I still believe that that hula hoop is working my core, as well as, you know, I noticed over this time that I've been participating in that hula hoop challenge is that, you know, I lost some inches. I was able to take off the brackets or the links. You know, each person call it different, bracket, links, whatever. We all know what the other person is saying. But I've been able to take one off, two off throughout this course. So I pulled out the old good handy dandy hula hoop this week and was able to get in some of that as well, you know, to work my core. So one of the other things that I am proud of that I accomplished was I showed up for myself this week. Trying to fill that 8-hour gap throughout the week, just being productive and so forth and so on. I did do 2 lives this week. One was like a pre-recorded motivational Monday, just because some things had happened that Sunday. So I just said, oh, let me just pre-record this as a premiere live and do that. And then this past Saturday, I actually went live. So I was able to show up for myself. That was a win. What else? Oh, so as far as my weigh-in, let's get to that. So a couple of people left some comments, you know, from the previous video, and I was asking the question, should I continue to weigh in weekly, or should I weigh in, since I'm taking my shot, until I finish out all those pins, 28 days. And a lot of recommendations were like once a week, still continue to weigh in, or you could do it every 2 weeks, but don't suggestions. There was no suggestions of waiting that whole length of time, just in case something your weight fluctuates up, and that way you won't be able to catch it in time to say, oh well, what's going on. So I took those recommendations. I continued to weigh in. So I did weigh in on Friday, because Fridays is my weigh-in. And let me see, let me get my phone, because everything is tracked in this app that I use with my scale. And so when I weighed in on Friday the 21st, well, first let me back up. So I'm gonna put the numbers here for you to see. I weighed in on November the 14th at 158. November the 21st was this past Friday, and I weighed in at 159.2. So do I take that as a gain, even though it says 1.2 gain? I don't. And the reason why I don't is because we all know, if you've been following me, my doctor wanted to reassess me at 160, and because I am going to eventually be off of this Zepbound, I really need to maintain under 160. Now, if I get to that 140 goal like I want to be at, then that's a plus for me. But other than that, I feel like this is a plus. I didn't go over the 160 because that was the reassessment weight. So, I was watching Miss Toy the Review. She put in a challenge for, I think it starts today to next Friday or next Saturday or something like that, where since we are approaching the holidays, trying to maintain your weight. And I was like, that's a good little challenge, because that's right up my alley, because I'm not trying to go over this 160 because it took me this long to get here. I'm not trying to go over that 160. I need to stay below this. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna partake in that. So with that challenge, it's just basically getting your water intake in, 80 ounces of water every day up and to that next Saturday. I think it's next Saturday. 80 ounces of water, and then seeing if you can maintain that weight because of the I'm going to say Christmas. Because of the Thanksgiving holiday, to try to see if you can maintain that weight. So I was like, okay, that's good, because right now I was trying to come up with a way to make sure, okay, I need to stay under this 160 during this holiday time. So I am going to partake in that. Of course, listen to like the rules that so-called rules. Or I don't think she's going to do it as a challenge. I think she said it's going to be, what did she say? Water intake. I think water intake. I can't remember. But some people do already drink over 80. But for those who don't, that it would be considered, trying to get your water intake in. So I will be doing that this starting today. So what I did was, even though I gave you the numbers that I weighed in on the 21st, which is the 159.2, because with this challenge, no challenge, whatever we calling it, I had to weigh in this morning, which is Sunday. So I'm starting my new upcoming week. So I weighed in this morning just to see where I'm at, so that way when next week comes, I'll know if I was able to maintain my weight throughout the holidays. So when I weighed in this morning, I'll put it here, I weighed in at 159. So I went down 0.2. So 159, I'm still under that 160, which is a plus, like I said, because I'm not trying to go over that 160. So that's going to be the number that I'm locking into for this next upcoming week. So yes. So let's talk about what am I planning on doing. Well, not what I'm planning on doing, what I've done this morning. Today is Sunday, right? So of course, it's a staple for me. My walking, getting my 30 minutes in, making sure I continue to walk every day, 5 days a week, 150 minutes total. If I want to do more, depends on how I'm feeling, I can. But by my doctor's recommendation from last year, from February of this year, she, noted in my chart that she wanted me to do 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, 150. So I'm just sticking to that. So I did that this morning. I'm also today planning on doing some squats, just because I want to make sure I continue to strengthen my thighs. My thighs. I want to strengthen those. I think what I'm going to do this week is try to. I'm definitely going to do the strength training again, because I need to do that. I need to focus on that. But it was something else I wanted to incorporate this week as far as physical activity. What was it? I can't remember. It was something else I wanted to focus on. It was the arms, have the thighs. Oh my goodness. I can't think of it. It'll come to me, and then I'll just mention it in a later video. But yes, because I don't want this to be too lengthy. And so as far as the mental component, so I'm going to still try to show up for myself this upcoming week, as far as trying to get up, put something out here on my channel, just so I can stay productive and not linger around, lay around, and until it's time for me to exercise or whatnot. As far as my intake, calorie intake, I'm still maintaining. I know I don't went off topic, but I'm just trying to hurry up because I don't want this to be a long video. As far as my calorie intake, I'm still maintaining my caloric deficit. So that's not an issue. And yeah, the only thing that I would say that I want to focus on is the mental component of everything. I want to make sure that I stay productive this week, and not be overwhelmed and stressed and so forth, because stress is not our friend. But yeah, that is it. That is what happened last week. That is what's going on next week. This is what I started today, which is my Sundays, so I can get my energy levels up. I'm trying my best to make sure that when I'm up and about, I have that energy. Because one thing is what I notice about myself, that going backwards. One thing I noticed about myself last week is I was trying to get up and I was saying to myself, oh, let me go ahead and edit this video, or let me record this, or let me post this, to try to have it posted by a certain time, like I'm working. I was like, I'm gonna do all that. When I have the energy, then I do what I need to do, because it's about me. So that's one thing I gotta get my mind set right, is that this is at my leisure, if that makes sense. And I know some of you understand. It's at my leisure. When I can get it in, I get it in, and that's sufficient. But other than that, that is my past week, my way in, my job searching. Oh, I forgot. So what I did do is, because I am going back down my journey again. If you are OG from when I first started this channel years ago, before I had to stop, before I had to stop right when the pandemic, you are familiar, if you're one of those people that support and have came back through. I do a lot of budgeting. So because I'm in this predicament right now, I had to go to good old faithful. And so what I did was, I'll try to put a snippet right here of, I went and ordered me my budget planner, the extension piece, from when I first started my channel years ago. So as I was doing a lot of budgeting. So now I need to be on my game right now. I need to be focused with this budget. And so even though I've been budgeting this whole entire time, but I was doing it digital. So I decided, let me go back to my hard copy, because it's there. So what I did was, after you saw the little insert, I went and pulled out my handy dandy planner, and I have, like you can see, my budget planner. And so my goal is to start focusing on this probably the 1st of December, because I got to be on point. I got to make sure that I'm in a good position going forward. Yes. So that is it. That's everything that's transpired from last week, what I'm doing this week. And yeah, that's it. Thank you all for watching. And welcome everyone who's new to my channel. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel, and also giving the video a thumbs up. And yeah, that's it. So everyone have a good week. Bye.